Welcome to the Nick and Jeff show. I was very excited then. But Nick, today, it's a special episode because it's like nearly our 1 year anniversary. Well, it is our 1 year anniversary of podcasts showing. And because it's such a special occasion, you, listener/viewer, if you could give us a thumbs up or a rating wherever you watch, that'd be awesome.
As long as it's
Also
a rating of
comments.
5.
Yeah. We also love comments. I like responding to comments. They make me happy. 5 stars only, please. And only comments about how handsome we are.
And only comments about how my hair is not thinning.
All right, Nick, lead the way. Tell
Am
us,
I leading the way?
What are the people watching? Are we spoiling it straight away?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we
this
are.
is more just a discussion, I guess, about the whole show. But I guess we might be talking. We probably will talk spoilers, I guess, about the whole series.
Okay. Spoilers. She's a lesbian. We're spoiling the whole thing. Let's go.
Okay, what did you think of the opening scene with the doctors or scientists or whatever they were?
Oh, Nick, I think I've got a slide for that. I have to get you on your toes.
No, no, there's not.
Maybe I didn't. Another place. Okay. My immediate reaction was like, oh, 1968. I actually thought, oh, they're going to change the story up and there's going to be an evil scientist corporation, like the plants, like the seed of this evil place, New Umbrella. But they were just talking about viruses, and that's fine.
Well, I love that they made it. That was the thing when the game came out. That everyone was like, that's the fungus that they're infected with. Like, that's a real fungus.
Yeah, it's real.
But it's like
virus.
Yeah, but it's like an evolved, mutated fungus that So normally it can only infect ants and other small little insects and animals, and grows in their brain and controls them, makes it zombifies them. But then the scientist is like, it can only survive in whatever American temperature it was. But like, what if the world were to get warmer? And the fungus had to adapt and evolve to be able to survive warmer temperatures. Could it then...
You see the host, his eyes were like, we're fucked.
Yeah. But and I love that was like, it's a very real thing. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Things do evolve and adapt and change. And what if it did? And he was like, we lose. Which I thought was really cool. Yeah. So did you like that scene? You like I
think it was really great. I'm glad they added it in. I can't quite remember if the game even, like, they do talk about the virus or the bacteria, fungus or whatever, but I don't feel like they ever went into that sort of detail. I can't quite remember. Maybe it was in like a manual law, pick up diary entry thing. But Nick, I feel like the next bit, they ruined it. They did it too soon.
What bit?
The intro with the fungus spreading and the music, like, I wanted to see that in the time jump.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, yeah. That's what you meant.
To me, that would have made more sense.
Right. I was reading your notes and I was like, right. And now that you say it, I'm like, yep, that does make sense. Having, like, seeing the virus spread, as it were, and seeing The Last of Us come out, that, well, in hindsight, would make more sense than what they did. But
did it happen? It happened that way in the game, didn't it? I'm sure it did.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it did.
Yeah, it did. But so, what did you think about? I guess do we call the intro up until when Sarah dies? Is that the intro?
Yeah, I think so. But it was really half the episode, right? And I almost felt like Sarah was. She wasn't the main character of the start, and I guess so she was in like the 20 minutes of the game opening. But like,
she has to be.
She is like so likable, and I'm rooting for you, Sarah. Like, I know you're gonna die, but like, damn, like, it was so good, and I actually kind of enjoy, like, I guess, I don't know, why do I always sound racist? Like the mixed race, like she's not white. If that makes sense.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know. Yeah. I'll stop. It was cool,
but
character diversity. Enjoyed it.
I know what you mean. I like how they. Initially, I wasn't sure because, like, as I'm watching in the game, the whole sequence of Sarah dying and even playing it all, I feel like it all happens.
Flick the pictures, Nick. We've got pictures of her. Sorry.
I feel like it all happens very quickly. I feel like
really.
Yeah, between like she is sitting at home. That's when Joel walks in, and then she gives him his birthday present, and then she falls asleep, then wakes up and he's not there, and then the whole car scene happens. Whereas in this, like, she wakes up and they're having breakfast. You see her go to school. You see her go and get the watch fixed. You see her meet the neighbors. You see one thing that I loved about the episode of the show was that it filled in a lot of little gaps of
I thought you just said it went by really quickly. You meant the game section version went by quickly. This bit was fleshed out. Yes, much better. Like, you saw in all my notes I wrote about, as soon as you see the grandma or whatever next door, I'm like, yep, they're dead. They're going to be the first. I felt like, oh, the dog. Like, please. Yeah. We didn't see the dog die.
Well, in the game, you hear the dog go like it's in pain. It stops barking. So I'm glad they didn't do that, because that would have been sad. But she's one of the first thing she says when Joel shoots the neighbor in the game is she was like, that's whatever his name is. I saw him this morning, and which obviously you don't actually in the game, you don't see him this morning, but in the show you see that they interact in the morning and everyone's fine. And
did you replay the start of the game, Nick?
I did not.
Or it's still fresh in your memory?
It's locked in there. I got it. It's all up there.
So many of the lines are like word for word, without a doubt.
Where'd you get the money for this? Drugs. I sell hardcore drugs. But then again, filling that in of where'd you get the money? Oh, well, I stole it, but it was only $20, and I knew you wouldn't do it for yourself, so I went and did it for you, which I thought was nice.
I liked Tommy because I felt like he wasn't likable, and you need someone that you don't love. And I'm just like, man, if I was Joel, I would have let Tommy rot in that prison for the weekend, right? I wouldn't have cared about getting him out straight away.
Right. Okay. Well, that was another.
The concept of bail is foreign to me. I don't understand it. Must be American. Obviously, it's American.
Sure. But one of the things, that was another hole that was filled in, because in the game, she gives him his present, and then he's like, oh, good, you can start helping out with the mortgage then, and then turns on the TV, and then it cuts to her being asleep. He carries her to bed, and then she wakes up, and Joel's nowhere to be found. And you play the game, and I remember for years, I'm like, where did he go? Why was Joel not at home?
Yeah,
and
good excuse.
Good excuse. But are we jumping too far ahead? Like, what is? I'm looking at your notes.
I just talked about how I really liked the clock shade. I think I got a picture of that. I was very proud.
Right, okay.
Go one more screenshot.
Oh, what do we got next?
Keep going, maybe. So for those of you listening at home, maybe it's not there. I don't know. Your screenshots are all out of whack, Nick.
That's your screenshots. Look at the numbers at the top. They're in order.
Right.
Oh, maybe they're not. No. 6, 8, 9, 11. You know what? I take it back.
But anyway, so Nick, let's jump to how. Oh my God, they absolutely nailed the car scene with bad stuff's happening at home. Sarah's about to get whacked or eaten or whatever, and then Joel rocks up with the brother, Tommy, and then she hops in the car, right? Mm-hmm. And how well they absolutely nailed that feeling and sensation. Like, it was just like the game, and you just watch the world slowly deteriorate around as they drive in this car. The only thing I didn't like, which I think the same thing happened in the game, is let's drive through a cornfield at night. Like, how on earth does that make sense, right? I
don't want to jump you back, but I feel like we've missed one of the most pivotal scenes is where she walks into the house at midnight and you see the infected grandma and you see her munching on the other, I guess
with little tendrils.
Yeah, your first impression of the infected with the stuff coming out of their mouths.
Well, I think what triggered in my mind is I heard talking about gas masks and spores, and they said they didn't want masks. They probably filmed this all in the pandemic. They didn't want masks to be part of the story, so they dropped the whole spores, thing. So once I saw the tendrils, it sort of triggered my mind. I'm like, oh, cool. Other people get infected because of the little little tendrils.
Well, the thing I love,
the gas and the air or whatever.
The thing I love about that is that the little stuff coming out of the mouth and then actually being a fungus separates it from every other zombie thing out there. It's not just like, oh, there's a zombie and they're whatever, but it's an actual organism that's, I guess, taken over their brain and their body. And I thought that's cool.
It's pretty alien. Like,
is it?
I know it's fungus, but to me, it's pretty alien. Like, it's pretty normal to have like a monster with things coming out of the human mouth. Like, it's pretty standard monsterish stuff.
Did you think it was stupid that like, does Sarah ever turn on the TV and watch the news? Because like she goes to school and there's all these ambulances everywhere.
Nick, one good note: it's not 2008 or 2006 or whatever year like the game was set in. It's 2003.
Yeah.
So smartphones aren't here. And then I guess there is TV and radio, and she asks about the news and the radio and stuff, and everyone just turns a blind eye or turns it off.
Okay.
So
fair. Maybe that's why, but I don't know, like with all the ambulances and stuff driving past, and then she gets sent home from the watch place, and did she not turn on the TV?
She asked. She was a curious girl. No one just gave her a real answer.
Yeah, fair. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, we'll jump back to where you were in the car scene. And they driving to the cornfield.
How good? Tell me about the car scene, Nick. Like, what did you think of it?
I loved the first thing that stuck with me. Sorry,
come on. There's ones of the car. I know I got ones of the car. There you go.
There's one. Yeah. Jumping too far ahead again. I loved the first thing when they get in the car and he's like, just drive, and the old man comes out and they run him over, and then a neighbor, one of the neighbors is like, holy shit, Joel, and like you see him go to help the old lady, and then the other infected comes over and tackles him, and you see his torch in the distance, just very like, oh yep, yeah, he's dead. But then driving past the house, like the house being on fire,
and there was another stranded family as well.
Yeah, they drive. Yeah,
actually, the house thing, it bothers me slightly. Like, okay, I just don't know why like a whole house is engulfed in flames just because you turn into a parasite zombie.
I mean, I don't know if that would have been the zombie that did it. Probably someone trying to get away.
Yeah.
Or maybe
anyway, it does make visual, spectacular, fun stuff.
Speaking of visually spectacular, the plane crashing and stuff. Am I getting too far ahead?
No, tell me. Was the plane new? Was the plane crashing in the game?
I don't think so. It was a car crashing into a petrol station in the game. That happened. But I don't recall seeing any planes. And then, like, they get... they don't get hit by a piece of plane debris flying into the car. They get smashed in... They get T-boned by another car. And that's
what... Not a tank, another big car.
Another car or a bus or something. And that's what rolls them. So, I did like the plane.
When I saw the plane, I just laughed. I'm like, of course.
Yeah. But it was cool, though, right?
Very TV. Oh yeah, it's cool, and it's just the same thing. I just can never imagine like on a flight. Oh, cool. There's some commotion from the pilot's door. Let's unlock it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I could never see that happening. But I guess
the other way around. Like the pilots are going to unlock the door. Like I just can't see it happening.
I just can't see it happening either. But I don't know. Maybe spores got in through the air vents and infected everyone.
No spores in this universe.
Not yet. They haven't come across spores yet. But what? Yeah, then like seeing Joel come up and there's a whole bunch of infected. That's the thing. They're not munching. They're more just like implanting or inserting the virus or the cordyceps into other hosts. Which and then
I didn't really notice that too much. I just saw violence. I need to rewatch that scene.
No, it was after he picks up Sarah and he's carrying her away, and then there's like 10, 20 infected munching, and then one pops up and is like, oh, and chases. That's the one that chases after him.
No, I can't quite remember. But then good pivotal scene here. Joel holding Sarah, about to be shot, and then good old Tommy comes to the rescue, but too late.
Yeah. Well, it's the scene that I think any Last of Us fan going into watch is just like, well, this is the make or break point out of everything else you've done. Like whether or not you did or didn't like the first 15, 20 minutes, this is the scene that you have to nail, because it sets up the entire series. The entire series of like who Joel is and how he is with Ellie, and it is the defining moment for the entire series. And so
Nick, yeah, this is an hour and 20 minutes TV episode, right? It was a movie length. Why would they? They've done a spectacular first episode. Why not finish it there? Like, would you be satisfied? Would you want to watch the next one? If it ended there?
You mean as in like draw it out a bit more and then have it finish there?
If you're a TV viewer?
I don't know. No, I think they did well. Initially when it started, I'm trying to look at the show through the eyes of someone who's never heard of the show, never seen the show, which is really hard to do considering I've played the game friggin' 20 times. To the point that as it was going on, I'm like, oh geez, they're really drawing out this, this start to where, they get in the car and then and Sarah dies. Like that all happens in like 15 minutes in the game, and it's been a while now. Ooh. And that, all this extra stuff, which now I think it's very essential to someone who has never seen it before, but is someone that's never seen it before getting bored 20 minutes in, being like, geez, it takes a while for things to get going. Whereas we know what's coming, so we're like, oh, here we go. When's it happening?
I was certainly not bored. Like, it's great.
Yeah. But did you think they nailed the scene? How do you reckon they went with the scene of Sarah?
I think it's spot on. It's beat for beat, scene for scene. Like, they just pretty much they copied what the game was in my eyes.
Yep.
And it was just already so good, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. They nailed it. Like, the game was already fantastic. No one who went into playing the game the very first time knew about that whole opening sequence anyway. So it was a surprise to everyone. So it's just very good.
I'd be curious to see. Like a behind the scenes interview with Pedro, because I've watched the behind the scenes on the making of the game, and when Troy Baker did that scene, he was like, he says in one of the interviews, it was like dozens and dozens of takes they did for that shot. And because I didn't understand acting, but like he emotionally drained himself every single take. Like he's literally making himself cry and just like getting into this emotional state where he's vulnerable and breaks down with every single take. He's just exhausted, and they just kept doing take after take after take. And then 6 months later, he gets a call from Neil, the director, and is like, we need to reshoot a scene. And he's like, yeah, sure, which one? And he's like, that one. And he's like, no. And he seemed like Milhouse. Be like, we did it. It took 1 million takes, but we did it. Yes, I'd be curious to see how many times that they had to do that before they were like, yep, that's the one.
Now, Nick, any other last comments about the 2003 segment of the show before we move on to 20 years later?
I think I was more just I'm wondering I want to get my family to watch it and other friends who haven't played The Last of Us, and just I'm curious to hear what they say about if it takes too long to get into. You know what I mean? Like that before Sarah dies, and if they find that interesting, if they find the characters interesting, because as we talk further on, they introduce Marlene and Tess and Robert, and
wait, that's the next part.
I don't know, that's what I'm saying, but I'm wondering if they find these characters as interesting or as captivating or as engaging as what they were in the game. So it's so I wonder if they feel that way with, I don't know.
So Nick,
what about you?
My only other commentary is that was a really nice wrench that he totally whacked one of the freakers with, or whatever they're called.
Yeah,
Walkers,
runners,
stalkers,
runners.
Now, Nick, the next person is totally new and mysterious. All I can think of is creep. Like, this is 20 years later. It's 2023 in the TV universe, the same day, the same time as us, and we've got this brand new character, And I'm just like, of course they need a brand new character, right? Why not? Like, it totally makes sense. But man, I just don't care right now. Like,
Who's the new character?
you know she's going to be pivotal and important, right?
Who's the new character?
Wheelchair girl. Wheelchair girl.
Okay, yep. That's
Like,
a girl?
Wheelchair person? Wheelchair kid?
Oh,
I thought it was a girl.
I thought it was a boy.
But, you know, she's been pumped full of drugs. She's turned up out of nowhere. She's going to be important. We don't know anything. Do you have any theories, or you forgot all about her?
No, I remember who you're talking about, yeah.
I mean, do you have any theories about it?
Wait. You know she's dead, right?
No.
You don't know she's dead? Oh my god, Jeffrey, I could slap you. The kid's dead. That was how because it took a second for me to click as well. The kid is dead. So okay, just hear me. All right, anyway. Take a seat.
All
Jeffrey.
right, well, I'm listening. I'm here for it.
So the kid wanders in, and it took me a second I didn't understand till way later, but well, not way, like at the moment, but wanders into the town. They sit her down in the chair, sit them down in the chair, strap them down, and the girl's talking to them, and they scan her neck, which is, you know what that's, they check to see if the person's infected, right? And then the woman she's kneeling with her, and she's like, "That's right. We just got to do a quick little test, and then we'll sit you down.
I remember them putting them the needle in or whatever.
Yeah, so we'll get you all the toys and your favorite food and all this and that, and then they inject her and kill her. They euthanize her, because in the next scene it then cuts to Joel working, and they open up the truck, and you see the kid. That's the kid. He picks her up and tosses her into the fire.
Ah,
because she was infected.
Oh.
She was infected.
Wow, I totally missed all of that.
Yeah, the kid's dead.
I remember Joel picking up the kid and tossing it in the fire, or the person, whatever, but I didn't realize it was the same kid.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like, when it clicked, I was like, oh, because I had the same thing. I was like, who is this character? I don't care about this at all. And then it cuts to Joel. I was like, all right, here we go, back to Joel. And then he picks up, and I was like, oh, that's the kid's shoes. Oh my god, that kid was infected, and they just totally killed her. Oh, and then Joel just tosses the kid into the fire. I can't believe you missed that. Oh boy,
damn! I'm gonna have to rewatch. I thought she'd be like some superpowered Resident Evil BS add-on thing. Like,
what did you write in your notes? The car. 20 years later, the new girl.
Baby girl dead.
No. That you're talking about Sarah there. You just wrote new girl. Full stop. Mute.
Oh, I noted she didn't talk.
I mean, she didn't talk, but noticed she didn't talk. Didn't notice she dead. Wow.
Now, Nick, all right, cool. I totally made a mistake here. Moving on. What's on my next little slide? I think
Fireflies
we get
cover
introduced
up?
to Tess.
Yeah, Fireflies cover up.
Yeah, so like the Fireflies are around. I don't really care about the Fireflies too much. Like, it doesn't sort of portray them, in good light and what they really stand for or whatever. In the game, it felt like the Fireflies were like some sort of mysterious, thing. Here it's just like, oh yeah, they're just causing havoc. But I really like Tess. I like how old and like beat up she is. Like,
yeah,
she looks. I mean, obviously she just came from like some weird torture scene or whatever. But like, damn, she looks tired. She looks strong though. Right?
Yeah, I like that
Did you like the portrayal of Tess?
I did. I like that. That's the thing. I'm treading this line here in my head, and I'm like, do we go into spoilers? And I don't. I don't know.
Spoiler, go it.
Well,
go for it.
I don't know.
Let's be real. No one watches us anyway, right?
But yeah, true. But I'm also wondering if later on down the track, if they will kill Tess, because
she's gonna die for sure.
Well, but I'm glad that they did make Tess and Joel in a relationship, because that was sort of unclear in the game. Like, you knew they were close, but you didn't really know what their relationship was.
Well, it's funny because like I almost thought it was almost like a dream sequence where Tess comes and is the big spoon for Joel, right? Joel's the little spoon. But then he wakes up and she's there, so like you kind of feel that happened.
I like that was a decision that they sort of made, that he found someone else. But yeah, I did like Tess. I liked that Robert sort of was still kind of scared of her, even more scared of Joel. But just knowing like how much of a badass she is and how much of a badass Joel is as well.
Nick, it is absolutely insane. I went to replay the game, and as far as I got was as soon as they killed Robert, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In the game. And then I replayed the next, hour or whatever.
Yep.
Every single line that was said is been repeated in the TV show, right? Like word for word, scene for scene. Like I'm like, wow, they did a great job.
Yeah. Well, I was reading some comments online, and one of my friends, Gage, was, there were some people upset that it's pretty much copied the source material almost exactly, and he wrote something like, "Yes. That's what people want. Like, this is what pisses us off. When you take the source material that is already fantastic and you mess with it and stuff it up. That's the problem with it." But no, they've taken this, almost, even some of the camera shots and angles and lighting, and they've taken things shot for shot,
Absolutely.
word for word, and done it the same. And that's perfectly okay. That's totally fine. And they've nailed it. I think that's one of the things that really sets it apart.
I also really liked he sort of cemented that Joel and Tess, they are smugglers, right? That's their real job, they smuggle things in and out. And when you play the game, I felt like you don't really quite see that. But when you're watching this as a TV show, you absolutely see it. Like, he's not doing bribes, but like he's passing, stuff he smuggled in to people on the inside in the quarantine zone and vice versa. And like, I really enjoyed that. Like cool. Yeah. They actually do have jobs.
And I love that he smuggles pills when
they're fake jobs.
I love that he smuggles pills when pills are like such a hot commodity in the game that you want to collect. But another thing that I love about Joel, at least when they first set him up 20 years later, is the fact... Is
there some Joel pictures in my slides? Let's move on from Tess.
No, you move on to... There's a picture of Joel there.
No, that'll do.
Yeah, when he's going to collect his paycheck at the end of the day, and the guy's like, and Joel's like, "Oh, do you have any more work tomorrow?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, we got this and this." And the type of person that they portray him to be is like, which one pays more? And he's like, "Well, the one with the shit." And I'm like, "Cool, I'll take that." Like, whichever. He doesn't care what the job is, as if it pays more. He doesn't care how shitty it is. If it pays more, he'll do it.
I absolutely love when like it looks like there's some sort of Christian preacher. I don't know. Firefly person, and he's like, and if you say look to the light, like I'm gonna shove my boot in your fucking mouth,
he's like, I'm gonna break your fucking jaw. Yeah,
he does not care for the fireflies or anything else in the world.
You said that he didn't look in your notes here. He's like, he doesn't look 36. Do you think he looks 56? Yeah.
Oh, he definitely looks 56 now.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I mean, hot. That's my type.
Well, I think he Well, I've seen some pretty, at least in my career, I've seen some pretty busted up 36-year-olds. Like, he looked pretty old at 36. But I think at 56, he looks appropriately 56. Like, he looks like, it's close to my dad. And he's like, yeah, that's kind of as my dad looks like.
I want to talk about my favorite character in the next 8 minutes before we run out of time.
Okay.
Marlene. At first, I thought, damn, she is. Go back. I think I got pictures of her butt for some reason.
Okay, there's a butt.
Or when she go back one more. She walks into the scene and like she's like commanding all these fireflies, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I just felt like, damn, she is like powerful. Like, I just like she's not taking shit from anybody, and I loved her. And then I'm like, you know what? I actually thought she actually looks better, this character, than the one in the game. Like, she looks even better. And then I'm like, I get to the end of the show and I watch like the 4 minutes bonus feature or whatever.
Yeah.
And it is her. It is Marlene from the video game.
Yep.
And I'm like, damn, she's got buff, strong, and I like she doesn't look young either. Like she looks tired and old.
Perfect.
And I really like that.
Yeah.
Like she looks great, and I think she's like really absolutely nailed every scene she's in.
Yeah.
Especially when you get to like the end with like the little showdown between them. They're like, you can tell there's history between her and Joel, and like,
yeah, absolutely.
So what did you think of Marlene?
I couldn't agree more. I thought she was great on screen, and she was really captivating. And it's just so good that they've kept the same actor. So even hearing her voice, I was like, oh, they've got the same actor. Oh, hell yes. But I think one thing that kept wriggling its ugly head in the back of my mind was that in the game, Marlene only shows up for the start when she hands off Ellie, and then she doesn't show up until
the end, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't show up till the end of the game. So she's in it for the first, I don't know, hour, and then you don't see her again till 15 hours later. And it's like, is this character done now until the end of the series, or are we same thing with Tess? Like, do they keep Tess alive longer and flesh her out, or I'm curious to see if they do the exact same thing because they need to fill time and expand it all. So.
Yeah. No, like Nick jumped through. I think I took a screenshot of one of the scene where they're all pointing a gun at each other. Oh, well, I guess not. Yeah. No, anyway.
That's not till the end.
Yeah, it's not till the end. I guess I skipped a fair bit. I really enjoyed how they fleshed her out. I hope she stays in longer, and I want to see more of her. And I was trying to remember, like, oh, did she die straight away? Like, no, you did see her at the end. So I have faith that they'll keep her. And I feel like she did such a strong performance. So, like, damn, she was way better. But, like, Nick, we're missing the actual main character of the two games.
Yeah.
Ellie. She didn't get a lot of time to shine. I felt like I don't love her yet. I know I will.
Okay.
But not yet.
I loved her straight away because I feel like everything she said, the way she spoke, her mannerisms, and even some of her body language, I was like, yep, that's Ellie. That's how she talks. That's what she would say. That's how she'd look at you. And I was like, yep, I can already love this character because I'm already in love with Ellie. So I got no beef. I think she's great.
What was she chained up in the game? I can't quite remember.
Negative. She was not. But my favorite line in my favorite line in the episode: "Do I look like your mum? No, you do not."
I liked how she was teasing Joel about "Wake me up before you go" and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know, old
that's
80s
clever.
music.
Yeah,
that was really good. Nick, so we did get a glimpse of a clicker, or I guess one of the infected who sort of spread their tendrils out. Like this is the bit where I'm like, oh, cool. The spores thing definitely is not a part of the game.
Oh no, I disagree. Could still be a part of it.
Sorry. You really think so? Like this guy's not giving off spores, infecting everything around it?
No, well, because not every clicker gives off spores, but I think it's one of the sort of important things is in the game when they come across spores. Joel puts his mask on, and Ellie's just like, "Yeah, no, I'm good. Doesn't affect me." And she's walking around.
She doesn't know that for a while.
No, she knows that. Yeah. Well, in the game when Joel meets her, she knows.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure she knows. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she knows.
Right. I remember in part 2, she's like, "Oh, yeah, got to wear that mask."
Yeah, I guess so. Other people don't find out, but yeah. What else? I liked how.
Yeah.
What should we do? Keep going? Or
I think we can do this in one 40-minute take.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
I love Joel's apartment, right? I love how they sneak out. I love how you introduced into like one of the cops a bit earlier on, or the police sort of like people, and then it's the same police person who's sort of helping them, or not letting them escape.
Yeah,
and that whole scene of them escaping and them being pinned down by the officer, about to get security tested, each one of them, and it's the same, exactly the same in the game. Camera shot, angle, the way it happens. The line said, all of it, perfect, so good. But
then Joel just pummeling the shit out of this guy, just boom, boom, and like seeing his PTSD and flashing back to losing Sarah, and you're just like, damn, this motherfucker is traumatized.
Do you reckon the TV people played God of War Ragnarok early?
Maybe, but I also like how
the rage mode was nearly identical.
Yeah, but also like how they even fleshed out the story with like Robert and how Tess and Joel have to go and get in this, it's a battery, it's not their guns, so they're going to get their battery.
The car battery, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like he made the deal with the Fireflies, and then they end up in a shootout because it's a shitty battery anyway, and that's how they all meet. And I really like the way that they sort of, I guess, tied that whole story together with a nice, neat little bow, and it was fleshed out, and
so
it made
Joel,
sense.
Like he was trying to memorize all these maps of where to go, right?
Yeah,
and then he just like gets drunk, takes some of his own drugs, maybe, and then falls asleep. Does that what happened?
Yeah, well, cause he's trying to find Tommy, but at the same time, I think they have that mutual goal of, because Tess knows he has to go and find Tommy, so she's like, well, head this way, take and deliver the girl, and so sort of looking for Tommy at the same time when he's delivering Ellie. So it's kind of he's getting a twofer. But I'm excited. Oh, sorry.
Excited for the next episode.
Yeah, the building.
What do you want? Do you want to keep going, or do you want to finish in a minute?
No, we can finish in a minute. I'm excited for the next episode in the building, and then I know where the story goes, but
I have no idea why. I just replayed that whole building section last night, and I'm like, there's no reason why they even need to go through the building.
Oh, it'd be so good. Well, because then it gets then they get chased after by the armed forces, and then Tess gets shot, and then Tess dies, and so I mean,
but like there would be another way where they didn't have to go through the building that is slanting, leaning up against another reason. Like there would have been another way. But anyway,
we'll
Nick,
see.
I feel like this is the end of our our timely podcast / show on Last of Us. Should we do more of these? I don't know. Yeah,
I'm keen. We'll see what people say.
All of Nick's friends, please watch. He wants you to watch it. Please enjoy it with him.
And don't forget to follow us on youtube.com/Nick&Jeff and facebook.com/Nick&Jeff and podcast services of your choice.
And we'll see you in the next show.
We're going to go. Love you too, Jeffrey. Bye.